Okay, everybody, today we're talking about stimulus checks. This is a hot topic. Lots of people have lots of questions. When am I getting my money? This is basically, the stimulus checks are $1,200 for an individual, $2,400 for a married couple, and $500 for each child. So a typical family of four would receive $3,400 directly deposited into your bank account. When is that money supposed to be there? En masse, I'm hearing that by the beginning of next week, a lot of people are going to start to see those stimulus checks deposited into your bank accounts, as long as the government has your direct deposit banking information. If they don't, they're going to set up a portal. The end of April, beginning of May is kind of the timing right now, where you can go online and you can put in your banking information so that they can direct deposit those checks directly into your account. If they don't have your banking information and you neglect to put your information in their web portal once it's set up, they will mail you a check. Now that check is going to take some time to get to you. You're probably looking at the fall. If you neglect to file your tax return so that they don't have your in 2019 or 2018, so they don't have your direct deposit information, or they don't have your direct deposit information because you didn't put it on the return, or they don't have your direct deposit information because you didn't put it in the portal, and so they have no idea if you are eligible for this check at all. In 2020, you can still process your return in 2020 and you will have the $1,200 or $2,400 or whatever it is refunded on your 2020 tax return. Okay, so what we're looking at on these stimulus checks in terms of timing is, one, you could get it as early as next Monday if all your direct deposit information is up to date. You could get it in May if you elect to go through the portal and put your direct deposit information in there. You could get it on a check if the government knows you're out there and you're qualified and you deserve it. Then they'll mail you a check and you get that sometime in the fall probably. And lastly, you can get the refund in 2020. So lots of different options for you to get that money. It's just how fast do you actually need it? Certainly the government's trying to put every process in place to get you that money as quickly as possible. The next question is, what if I'm on Social Security? How do I get my stimulus check? And there's been a bit of back and forth on this one, where the government said maybe we should get these people who aren't required to file a tax return to file a simplified one. And they've come back and they said, let's try and keep this as simple as possible for everyone. We know the direct deposit information for a lot of these Social Security people or where they live. So if they're already getting Social Security from us, I'm sure we can figure it out, and they are going to get you your stimulus check without having to file a tax return. So great news for people who are on Social Security and dread the idea of filing a tax return. One of the big questions is, am I going to have to pay tax on this later? The easy answer is no. None of these stimulus check monies are taxable income. This is just money that the government is giving you to stimulate the economy, and they're not going to ask any of it back in the form of taxes from you in 2019 or in 2020. The next big question I'm getting is this an advance? And this is how I've described it to some of my clients. Because if you do nothing in 2018 or 2019 and the government doesn't give you a check, but you file a 2020 tax return, you will receive an additional $1,200 or $2,400 or whatever the amount is on your 2020 tax return as a refund. And what this whole program does is it basically takes that money that you would have received on your 2020 tax return and it's giving it to you now. Direct deposit into your bank account as long as the government has your banking information. So in that way, it is an advance on 2020. Now, the government's trying to get you this money as quickly as possible. So they're looking at your 2018 returns, because a lot of people haven't filed 2019 yet. 2019 is not due until July 15th. So they're looking at your 2018 returns and they're saying, is this guy eligible to receive the $1,200? And based on 2018, they say, hey, this guy's eligible. I have his banking information. I am going to put $1,200 directly into his bank account. Little do they know, on July 15th, you file and you have a lot of income and you are now no longer eligible for the $1,200 deposit. So in 2020, when you file your tax return, you are going to have to give that $1,200 back. So for most people that are getting the $1,200 legitimately and they're qualified, that 2020 is just an advance on the money that they would have gotten in 2020. But for those of you who get the money and aren't qualified, you're going to have to give that back in 2020 on your tax return then. So if you haven't filed a 2018 or 2019 tax return, the government doesn't know that you should be getting the stimulus check, and they don't have your bank deposit information. They have partnered with TurboTax. And I'll put a link in the description below where you can go online and you can fill out some basic information about yourself and give your banking information, and that's how the government will get your information through that TurboTax portal, and you don't have to file a tax return at all for 2018 or 2019. So with our clients, we encourage each one of them to file a tax return each and every year. The vast majority of people are getting refunds, and if they're not filing their taxes, they're leaving those refunds on the table. After 3 years, you lose that refund and the IRS just keeps it. Billions of dollars are left on the table with the IRS each and every year and not claimed. So claim your refund and file your taxes. That's our general message. So that's it with regards to stimulus checks. I think for the vast majority of people, this is going to be a fairly straightforward process where they just receive these monies early next week into their bank account. As you can see, there's some differences and subtleties depending on the circumstances and experiences of certain people. So if you have any questions on whether you're eligible or whether you're going to be taxed on it or have to give the money back, please feel free to give us a call. It's Brodie CPA. Subscribe below. Thanks for watching.